Yeah.
I used to have Bitcoin. Let me tell you, I had a half a Bitcoin in 2017. No, I had like maybe one Bitcoin like mid 2016, 2017. It was like 4,000. You know what I'm saying? Just one,
What'd
right?
you sell?
I at the tip of 2018 when that bitch took a nosedive, I
Yeah.
jumped the fuck out and I ain't looked
Yeah.
back since. But that one Bitcoin I would have 70 grand. So it is what
Yeah.
it is. You lose
Yeah.
some, you win some.
Of
Emotional
course. Of
damage.
course. Of course. And you didn't learn anything from that situation?
I learned to not fuck with Bitcoin.
No.
That's what that's,
He repeated that cycle 2 more times. Like, I was just telling Frank a second ago, we 2 years deep on the show, man. Like, how many episodes though? Like, it's at least I want to
officially
say about
77.
200.
Yeah.
Well, we got like 200 shows, bro. Probably more than that.
No,
Nice.
definitely probably more than that. If you count shorts and clips, definitely
Yeah.
300-400.
So, y'all know what time it is, man. It's your boy King Arthur in the building. Come here with something good, unify, thrive. Don't y'all forget it. Remember it all day, every day. Check out the website. Stay down there somewhere. Summertime coming, y'all know I'm about to go booming with the LED products. You know what I'm talking about? Frank, what up with you over there?
I'm chilling, man. Can't complain. Same old. Check out the website, cyberbunny.com. And then I got lucidperspective.com. Check out the YouTube, Lucid Perspective on all platforms, mostly.
Right.
And yeah, the same thing. And the book, still working on the book. I mean, writing
Come on, we
pages
need
here
that
and there.
book. We need that book, Frank.
I know it's a struggle though. It's writer's block. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be original. I'm trying not to use AI. I'm trying to make it all me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to use technology like that. But I don't know. Maybe towards the end, I might have to do that. But yeah, it's coming.
It may spark something. Use it on the side.
That's true.
You never know.
Just spark something to continue writing. But it's like I'm trying to be original, so to speak. But yeah.
The last human written book.
Who knows, bro?
Hey, that's a selling point.
True.
AI
free.
So my man Ty, we got my man Ty here, man. I met Ty online. He used to talk about option trading and stocks and all kinds of. I thought he was an economist. You know what I mean? Like he was always talking about money. Always talking about money in the news. Always talking about hedge fund stuff. Always talking about if it was money related, Ty was talking about it. So that's how me and Ty connected. And so what's going on, bro? How you feeling today?
I'm good, man. Like I said, I appreciate this opportunity. Just speak my piece, and everything that is said here. It's not any professional advice. Of course, consult your own financial advisor. This is just for entertainment purposes.
Facts.
Ty said he's an analyst, so he ain't. Don't ask him about no money stuff. I mean, he analyzes stuff.
Hey, if I got the answer, I'll give it to you. I don't hold on to anything. I try not to.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we all appreciate that. Right. Gatekeepers got to get out the way. It's a new age. It's a new dimension.
Of course. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. Because them gatekeepers, they're if they have an NDA, they're bound to that. But
true.
Right.
Yeah.
So to get the show started, man, what we ask all our guests is, what was your figuring shit out moment? Right. It could be with anything. I'm not even. What's your figuring shit out moment?
Like one moment.
If you got one, yeah.
I mean,
something to change your life.
Something that changed my life.
Epiphany moment.
Sparked your nipples.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, like I know you said anything, but like personal, professional, or like just like whatever.
Yeah. The moment that made you change your life, and you say, "I'm not doing that no more. I'm going this way." You know what I mean?
Sheesh. I guess got married. No.
Congrats.
I guess I would go. No, listen. That's another story for another day. But I think I would say I was fairly young, man. I mean, I'm still young. I'm saying that like I'm old. I think I would go back to my college time. I was because I studied finance at Norfolk State, and my sophomore year was 2008, so in the heart of subprime, and we were doing case studies. It was literally like real life case studies, and I had to do a case study on AIG because remember they were about to go under. You know, they just the government found out that they were running a hedge fund, which they weren't supposed to. In the end of the case study, you know, we were supposed to make a decision. If we were to bail the company out, what would we do based on our findings? Thank God I wasn't the head of the Fed, because I said, no, I'm not bailing them out. And, you know, we probably would still be paying for it to this day. But where I'm going with this is it really made me realize that this entire system, this entire world, and even if you think about us personally, we're always hedging something. We're always leveraging something. So it's really one of those things where it made me realize, like, no matter what decision I make sure there's a hedge in place. So I think that was really one of my figuring shit out moments.
No, that's huge. And for those that don't know, when you say hedge, what is in
that's
financial terms? What is hedge? Huh?
Yeah.
That's my question too.
No worries. My bad. I don't want to make it too complicated.
No. Use the terms, because we want people to learn, you know what I'm saying, the financial terms. So use the terms, and then if you know what I'm saying, we got to go into deeper and explain it, we could do that too.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's essentially just, I mean, you're insuring yourself. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, right? If you're selling an option, right, you want it to fail, right? But hedging is really just taking out insurance on any derivative, and a derivative can be anything. It could be your car, because it derives off of something. It could be your house. It could be your investment. So hedging is just having something in place just in case whatever you're investing in or whatever you have loses value.
I love financial talk. I think we can hit a few different topics. King already know what my head's going right now.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying? So
silver and gold.
Silver and gold, crypto.
Okay.
I guess so. Before we jump into those, if we can get a little more background on your particular industry and what you focus on.
Yeah.
And then from there we can springboard into every other avenue.
Okay. Like I said, I studied finance at State. You know, my dream job was to always go work for Goldman, you know, Goldman Sachs. Right. You know, but I was in the military at the time, so I didn't have an opportunity to take advantage of internships. So I ended up working for Enterprise. I went into the management trainee program. I did that for about 5 years, and that was really my introduction to business travel. You know, just working with different accounts, servicing different accounts. And that really opened my eyes to just corporate travel. I had an amazing opportunity to be one of the assistant directors at JFK Airport. This was in 2013, right before I relocated back to VA. And man, you know, one of the busiest airports. I was part of a task force team where we rolled out I don't know when the last time you ever rented from Enterprise at like an airport, but you know those iPads that they use to check people in. We actually had a task force program in 2013 where we started to roll those out. So you know, I had an opportunity to be a part of that. But now, you know, just fast forward after, you know, COVID, I'm now in the hospitality industry. So I'm an analyst for my specific property, which is the specialty markets. So my job is just to grow and analyze our specialty markets, which includes entertainment guests and also diplomatic sales. So let's just say if a prime minister came in during United Nations General Assembly week, which is in the week of September, we would service that account. And then the task force aspect of it, let's say if our parent company was going out to expand, we would go survey the land. We would look at different demand generators, and the demand generator could be like a school, a business, corporate headquarters. And we would put together deal syndications to bring investors together to purchase a hotel.
Okay.
You said a lot. There was some big words.
I know.
Derivatives, analysts. So what is an analyst? Like, so what do you do on a day-to-day basis? And like, how'd you go from rental cars to hospitality? Like, they don't even do the same thing.
So, you know, COVID came, you know, you get furloughed, which is why I had so much time to be on the internet, you know, preaching to people, editing videos. And I definitely commend people who have full-time jobs and they're shooting, they're editing, because that's literally a full-time job in of itself. So I commend and having a family too, like literally.
Right. Content creation is crazy.
Right. So, you know, just during COVID, you know, going back to my career, going back to just what I enjoyed most, I enjoyed servicing people. I also, when I travel, I enjoyed the hospitality that I would receive when I go to hotels. Selfishly enough, too, it's like when I travel, it's like my biggest expense is my hotel. So, okay, maybe I can do what I'm enjoying and then work for a hotel company where I can get a discount, a significant discount while I'm traveling. My first, I don't know if you're familiar with I don't know if you're familiar with Marriott Waterside, downtown Norfolk.
Norfolk, yeah.
Yeah, that was my first hospitality role, man. I went in as a front office manager, and that opened my eyes even more to the hospitality industry, just really changing the aspect of it. It's literally real estate and a business, because you got your food and beverage, you have your rooms, you have the real estate aspect of it, and just sitting in meetings with directors, sitting in meetings with our asset managers, that really was the spark that was like, you know what, I want to invest more in commercial real estate. So that's why I stayed in hospitality, and I moved back to New York in 22. Prime city. We call it a gateway market. Gateway markets are like Miami, San Francisco, like your bigger markets like Chicago. And yeah, man, my career just took off from there.
No, that's dope. While you were speaking, I was thinking of, were you in, so how did COVID affect the hospitality? Were you in there back then or no? You know, a few years ago.
So I was in Virginia at the time.
Okay.
I just got back to New York in 22.
Okay, got you.
So I got to, you asked me, did I get into the hospitality market during COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
so I got in
I would thought
21.
At that time, right, nobody was traveling, right? Everybody was hunkered down.
Not at all.
So
not at all.
So did you got into hospitality at that time? At when
I got into hospitality. I got into hospitality August of 2020. The worst year for hospitality.
Wow.
The worst year. Right. So it's funny. Ironically enough, the team that I got hired on, can you hear me? I think I just heard something beep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's my
so the
daughter's
team.
friend.
Oh, no worries. So the team that I actually got hired on as the front office manager, our job, like you said, nobody was traveling. Luckily enough, we were subsidized by the government because, you know, the military, they're still going to travel no matter what. But we still were in charge of keeping in contact with the current accounts that we had. Lockheed Martin was huge. I don't know if you remember the transition of Norfolk Southern. Remember they sold that building in Norfolk and then yep. They sold, actually didn't I think it was BB&T, or not BB&T. It was CHKD and somebody else partnered and bought that building. I forget who the other company was. Okay. But where I'm going with it, we had a big contract with them because they were servicing, you know, the transition of their employees down to Atlanta. At the same time, we were just like, hey, just reaching out to people. Hey, don't forget about us. You know, we still have these timelines, so we're opening back up. We're trying to figure out what the contracts that we had. Because think about all the event spaces. You're signing contracts to host events. And obviously, you can't host this event. So our accounts payable and accounts receivable team was busy. You know, we're trying to figure out, hey, are we going to give them this? Right. Because here's the thing. We're not really sitting on all our capital. So now we have to come up with capital. We have to raise capital. We have to partner with investors. We have to raise debt. We have to figure out, hey, how are we going to, for one, either issue a credit, or how are we going to pay back, you know, our biggest clients for all these room blocks that we have? So that was part of like the task force team that I was on at the time. And then, of course, you know, the beginning of 22, you know, restrictions were lifted. We started to see more of that travel back. And our government in that area, the government was really our biggest, literally was our safe haven. We were just relying on the government at the time.
Nice. That's dope.
So even like, I just think about back in 2020 when things were kind of rough, and like, so I'm just thinking about the stock market, right? Like everything was kind of like on sale, discounted, right? Yeah. But if the company was good, right, and they held on to whatever they was trying to do and learned to pivot properly, they boomed, right? Of course. AMD, Nvidia, a lot of the companies, almost all the decent companies boomed. All the shitty companies, we're out of here, right? So I was thinking about that. And then the government, they gonna find a way to keep going, right? They gonna find a way to make things happen.
They're gonna print that money.
Regardless of
that's their job.
They gonna print the money, they gonna spend the money, and they gonna make some money. They don't do nothing else. Right. They don't do nothing else, right? So how does that affect you moving forward, like leaving Virginia, going to New York, and going into a bigger market? Things are probably getting back bigger.
I mean, in a good way, of course. You know, bigger market becomes bigger responsibilities, bigger accounts, bigger relationships. It's a challenge, don't get me wrong, you know, but it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, you just get exposed to more. You know, I'm getting exposed to bigger accounts. I'm getting exposed to just a different, how do I say this? It's a different type of clientele that we're servicing. Also, too, just, you know, we're closer to the asset managers because, you know, New York City is the largest city that hosts, you know, all corporate headquarters. I want to say it's about 75 different companies regarding like headquarters in New York City. So, of course, with our accounts, you know, we can, you know, it's a train right away. If we have Citigroup, you know, which is a client, train right away if we need to talk to somebody regarding asset management. You know, if we have a big delegation coming in for United Nations General Assembly, the property that I work at, we're literally a mile from there. Of course, they're going to stay with our property. So with the transition back to New York, man, it's definitely been helpful, very rewarding. And at the same time, man, I have no complaints. You know, that's definitely how it's helped me.
Let's get into investment strategy. So
Mhm.
you're a finance guy. What would you say your person? Again, this is not financial
Yeah.
advice for nobody. You know what I'm saying? You could
Yeah.
just talk about what you do, right?
Okay.
Work for you.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're invested in right now that you feel has the most return on investment for you, or that you're most optimistic about?
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, of course, if we break it down from an industry standpoint, well, I'll personalize it. I'll go to like what I'm invested in. When I go to my long-term stock positions, I mean, we're
Mm-hmm.
talking Apple, of course. I mean, you can't talk about a portfolio and not have Apple, Google. And the reason I'm excited about Google is just because of if you talk about a SWOT analysis,
Mm-hmm.
just their strength in the market on how easily they can adapt AI, with that position. So of course, we're going to talk about
Right, that's
Microsoft at the
true.
same time. You got Microsoft,
The big wigs.
Nvidia. Yep, Nvidia, right? Now, my portfolio, I break it down in three different ways. So I have my individual stock, I have options, and then I have bonds. Every now and again, I'll dip in and out of crypto, but I would do it through futures. Ever since they released futures,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really hold crypto in a sense. I do believe in crypto. I do believe in the blockchain. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
It's just right now at the moment, because it's so volatile. My risk assessment, most of my volatility comes from my options trading. So I don't want to add any more volatility to my portfolio by
Right, for
using
the
crypto,
risk.
which is
Right.
why I just try to shy away from crypto. But I'm all for it. I'm all for the blockchain. It's our future, right? There
Yeah,
are a
that's
lot of
facts.
things now that
Sure.
would be more efficient if we were to adopt the blockchain. But of course, companies, more particularly investment companies, they are regulated by the FDIC, regulated by the government, so that it's kind of hindering them from fully taking on crypto.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's personally a little bit of what I'm invested in.
Are you looking for a media agency that covers all the creative tasks that make a business successful? Lucid Perspective produces elegant, high-resolution graphics and logos, high definition and 4K video, complete with treatment concepts and innovative editing. Lucid Perspective provides photography services such as fashion, advertisements, product or service, and aerial photography. We also help businesses build their brands from the ground up with complete campaigns that will make your business attractive to your target audience. We can bring your brand to the masses with our effective and strategic marketing campaigns to include sales funnels, eye-catching advertisements, breakthrough digital marketing through social media, and other digital avenues. Visit lucidperspective.com today. So, and I give you I have a gripe with
Okay.
stocks.
Get to it.
Yeah. So, and I don't know how you feel about it. You can tell us maybe. I used to, play around with stocks a little bit or whatever. But then when I forget what it was a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, we had the GameStop thing. I don't know if you remember the GameStop short, and everybody's buying GameStop stock to, they were pumping it up, and then
Yeah.
those investors over there on that side were losing money, and then Robinhood, Stash, and maybe some others stopped letting people purchase, and I was
Mhm.
among those. They stopped some of my purchases, and that pissed me off, and I sold everything, and I left the game, and I've
Mhm.
been sour ever since. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think well at the time when they said, hey, this volatility, we're doing this for your protection, and I'm just like, bro, I'm
Mhm.
just trying to buy some GameStop stock. What are you talking about? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Like about that whole situation when that happened.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, just in my opinion, how do I say this? You felt the effects of the market, right? Like
Mhm.
that's something you are at risk of, experiencing by being in the market. I think your gripe isn't with the market. I think your gripe is really with Robinhood, and
True.
you're taking that out on everything else. Because if you would have had a Thinkorswim account, if you would have had a Tastyworks account, if you would have had another account who was more capitalized,
Charles
right, or
Schwab.
Charles
Also,
Schwab.
was it just Robinhood then that
Well,
was
I think
stopping
there was
sales?
another. Wasn't there another brokerage account that well, let's paint the picture. Anytime volatility spikes crazy, they will hold the stock because obviously that the market isn't efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to Robinhood, they couldn't fill those orders. You had people that are
Mm-hmm.
wanting to close out, right? They had a list of orders
It
that they
was
had to fill,
pumping,
but
yeah.
they didn't have the capital. So what do? They halt the trading. They stop people from trying to cash out their account. So it really was a Robinhood issue
Okay.
that they were undercapitalized. And I think I wouldn't say you were taking it personal because I would take it personal too.
I was
I
heated,
lost
bro.
Listen, I lost money in GameStop. I was the one short, and I'm like, no, there's no way this is gonna keep going up. And I kept
you was on
shorting
that
the
side. You
hell.
had
Yes.
Okay.
But I was doing it through options.
Right.
I was selling calls. I kept selling calls. I was rolling my positions, rolling it like if you're down, you can reset your position. You can roll it out for a month. You can roll it out for the next couple of days. And I'm like, no, there's no way this shit is gonna keep going up. Kept going. My
That's
loss
because
kept
they were
getting bigger
pumping
and
it.
bigger.
Yeah, it was a Reddit. I think it was a Reddit post or something, and everybody's like, "Hey, they over there showing GameStop. Let's pump it up."
Right.
I caught it on the end,
but I don't think you should let that one situation, because here's the thing, there's going to be more situations. You're going to get into another individual stock position. You're going to lose big. And then you're going to feel this way. It just comes with the territory. That's like joining the military. Like, damn, I got deployed. Well, that's kind of what happens when you join the military. I joined
the army, and now I'm in the front line. I'm in the front lines. Yeah, bullets past my head.
But I really think your gripe is with Robinhood, not necessarily the market.
That makes sense.
So people ask me like, so my thing is, when people ask me about investing or how to get started, I'm always saying go to a reputable broker, right?
Absolutely.
Go to somebody who got years in the game. Like Robinhood ain't even 25 years old. I'm not trusting them with
like
all my money, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm barely trusting them with the little bit of money I do have, right? If they've been in business for 100 or so years, Charles Schwab, Ledge, even Bank of America, I don't know if they have a trading platform, but
they don't. But
they just got to be able to manage hundreds of millions of dollars for a while.
Yeah, but I will say the good thing about Robinhood, what I liked about Robinhood, I like that too. What I liked about Robinhood, they were the catalyst for change. They were the motivators for these other brokers to reduce their fees.
Right. That was the selling point. Yeah.
Right. You get what I'm saying? So they kind of helped out everybody else. But of course, like anything, a startup, they're figuring shit out as they go on. Right. So it's just one of those things where this was one of the biggest moments that they probably were tested. I mean, they've never really been tested to that case. And unfortunately, they failed. I mean, anybody would have failed. At one point, JP Morgan had to get bailed out, right? So with them just starting out, that was really one of their tests. And, they couldn't,
and that's fair.
They couldn't meet the mark.
And that's fair. And I appreciate that response, because that does make me feel better about it. But I think the narrative at the time was, I get the message I got and so many others got was, we're doing this to protect you. You know what I'm saying? And if the issue was really they couldn't fill the orders or whatever the case, they kind of put it on to like, oh well, we're gonna stop this because we're looking out for y'all. You know what I mean? So and maybe that might be a portion true. But if you know what I'm saying, it's just I don't think it was transparent enough. And then reading that email, I'm just like, you motherfuckers, y'all don't give a fuck about it. That's the person. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, you gotta think. I mean, they can spin it that way.
Of course.
But if they're how do I say this? If they're trying to fill every order and they're paying out this bread, I mean, they're gonna go under. Now, I mean, they can only pay but so many people.
True. That makes sense.
They can only pay but so many people. So
all right, so I felt a little better about that. Okay.
Right.
Just a little bit.
I think we've all learned the hard way. They say we're trying to protect the people. They're not.
No, they're not. I mean, we'll take it. We'll take it. I mean, and man, listen, the stock market, the publicly traded market, right? You have to always think the reason you're investing in a company is because you believe in this company. So they're always just like Powell. He moves markets by a flip of a switch. He can say one word and he can move a market. Where I'm going with it is the market is nothing just but investor sentiment. And investor sentiment is just what you think of this.
It's speculative,
right. If Robinhood is trying to raise more capital, what do you think they're going to come and say? Oh, we care about you. We want this. So they're not going to say what we want them to hear, because then, of course, now we're just going to sell even more. Investors are going to run, right? It's not going to be a good look.
They're going to be like, get the fuck out of here. Jump ship.
Right. Yep. So it's like being a publicly traded company is like it's a hard spot to be in, because it's public scrutiny. You can never really be transparent. You always have to say what's good, but then when you always make it sound good, you're going to be questioned like, that don't make sense. But that's what you have to do as a publicly traded company.
That's facts. Right. That's business, right? That's like business 101. Right. You're gonna spin it, frame it to the positive, to a positive as opposed to a negative. For your clientele, for your people. So it makes sense.
Let's get off the soft commodities, I guess, to the hard commodities. Right? You had mentioned earlier about commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Right. You said you were in the commercial real estate. So how do you see that sector going after COVID? Because during COVID, we thought every building in the world was going to be for sale. You know what I mean? But a lot of buildings did go on sale. But a lot of them still standing and getting repurposed. So what do you think about that going forward?
Yeah, and some more about to be for sale too.
Hey now.
But now the commercial real estate, the industry is in a tough spot. Next year, 2025, 25% of the commercial notes are due. So that's about 1.5 trillion. The majority of it being balloon payments. So it's going to be a tough spot. And let's also add what's currently happening in the economy. The Fed is continuing to increase rates. So now banks, they're reducing their risk. So they're not lending more, right? They're tightening their credit standards. So what does that mean, essentially? So that means next year, when it comes time for these developers, these asset managers, when that loan payment becomes due, it's going to be harder for them to refinance. So they're either going to have to sell or they're just going to have to go into foreclosure because they're going to default on that loan. So it's really going to put us in a tough spot where that 1.5 trillion is going to become due. And we're going to have to see. I mean, the government may have to step in because banks, they're not going to eat that loss. We already know the government isn't going to allow them to put those losses on the books. So we're in a tough spot. We're down commercial real estate values to, since COVID, we're down 40%. Right. So those values are done. People were eating up these buildings, because obviously we were printing money, zero interest rates. So of course we're just buying shit up. So now that value on top of that is 40% less. So when you go to refinance, you're underwater. That creates another situation. So we are, in my opinion, I think we're going to see a little bit more of the effects of COVID in waves. And this is going to be maybe the second wave that we're seeing of the effects. So that's currently where the commercial real estate market is. Like I said, we are seeing a lot of adaptive reuse. Companies are moving out of the office space because, we have work from home now.
Right.
They're transitioning more so into like your life sciences. So like health, like tech health is growing. So they're transitioning to fulfillment centers. Obviously, e-commerce is on a run. Of course, something like Amazon, you see a lot of fulfillment centers popping up. So a lot of pension,
like crazy.
Yep, and a lot of pension funds or state pension funds, you'll see them starting to get some of their commercial property off their hands, and they're transitioning into e-commerce, like owning fulfillment centers and whatnot. So that's a little bit of where the commercial real estate industry is headed.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Is it advantageous for a smart real estate investor to buy property then? Because like one conversation that me and my wife always having is like, why not just use, like we would see somebody building a whole new building right next to a dilapidated building that they won't even tear down or repurpose for anything, right? And so a developer is just gonna keep building more and just ignore what's already out there, or are they gonna just let those buildings go to waste?
Well, it depends on their strategy. It depends on any strategy. It sounds crazy, but anybody can make something work in the market, right? And to your point where you're saying somebody like a developer is building a new development right next to a dilapidated development. I mean, maybe their strategy, it could be for depreciation standards. It can be more so they have a special loan that they're getting where they can enter their strategy. Let's say, for instance, they sat down and they've done their analysis. It probably cost them less. It sounds crazy. It probably cost them less to build that site than to just buy a developed site, based on their relationships with banks, because they probably still got a crazy low rate, right? And although we're looking at high interest rates, XYZ, this is where relationships come into play with certain asset managers, because they have crazy relationships for years, right, with banks. So if you have a developer 25 years in the game, let's look at somebody like and I don't really like talking about big dogs because we try to make it seem okay, you can do this within 5 to 10 years, but no, like someone like Don Peebles, I mean, he's been in the game 30 plus years, right? You think a bank is going to charge them 7 to 8%? Absolutely not.
No.
So your new development that you're seeing may be from somebody like a Don Peebles, right? Which may not make sense to you, but it makes sense to them because they have skin in the game, they have capital, they have a ton of relationships with financiers, right, that can give them favorable rates below market rates. So you're already coming in as a profit, right? Because if you're pricing something based off of 8%, but I'm able to come in at 5%, I already have a spread there where I can work a little bit of margin. So whoever's building that new site next to a dilapidated site, for one, they're coming in strong because now they're setting the comps in the area, right? So that's Like, that's an advantage that they have. And then once they set the comps in the area, they'll probably either just buy up the rest or just leverage their property regarding the market value, so they can either refinance at a later time, or and like you said, or build some more.
Right.
So why not? Well, why don't people use the building that's already standing? Like that's just one thing that just always been a gripe. Like it's harder to be in the building, right? And it just be there for like 10, 15 years, but nobody will touch it.
Right? Maybe there's liability attached to it.
I mean, it's so many factors. They probably get to a point where you can't rezone it, you can't repurpose it. There's probably something with the foundation or the structure. It's probably just more expensive. Where if you're renovating it, in a sense, because if I can paint the picture this way, would you buy a 2002 Jaguar, right? But you have to put excuse my language, but you have to put $50,000 into it to renovate it, to make it up and running, but you're only guaranteed like 2 or 3 years for it to run. So why would you invest that $50,000 into the Jaguar and renovate it, right, to fix it up, when you know you only got a couple of years left on it? When you can take that 50,
that math ain't math,
right? So it's you just got to look at it that way. You got to look at it that way. If it's a new build, you also got to think about, are you familiar with ESG, environmental social governance?
Yeah, that's a big thing nowadays.
Right. So you got to think of, just in the future, are they trying to get certain patents? Are they trying to get certain permits? Because USDA, they're giving out loans, they're giving out credits. Certain states, certain municipalities, they're giving out credits for ESG certified buildings. The new headquarters that JP Morgan is building is going to be the first all-ran electric, running off just like electricity in New York.
Okay.
I forget the actual name that
they got the Tony Stark reactor in there or something. What they do?
Right. I know, right? But I forget the term that they use, but it's literally going to be the first all ESG certified building. Yeah, look it up. It's going to be done in about 27. I think they spent $3 billion. They spent $3 billion on it.
So all green. They're not no fossil fuels, none of that stuff. And that'd be interesting. Where's the energy coming from? But I guess we can look that up.
Yeah, of course. And then you got to think JP, man. They're the big dogs, so they can afford that.
True.
All right, in Manhattan too. All electric power building.
Right off of Madison.
270 Park. It's powered by hydroelectricity plant.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a dam somewhere or something. They're gonna siphon energy.
I don't know. It's crazy how they're making it work, because it's smack dead in the middle of Madison Avenue, surrounded by a ton of other skyscrapers, headquarters. But JP made it happen, man. Yeah.
Hi, I'm King Arthur, founder of Novel Views Tech, where we prepare children aged 10 to 17 for a future shaped by advanced technology. Our curriculum dives into fields like robotics, nanotechnology, quantum computing, and more. But what really brings learning to life are our bi-monthly Exploring the Future of Technology webinars, hosted by industry experts. These webinars aren't just lectures, they're interactive discussions that connect your child to the pulse of the tech world, creating a learning experience that goes beyond the classroom. We offer a money-back guarantee to ensure you're completely satisfied. Equip your child with the skills to not just adapt, but to innovate and lead in the future. Join us at Novel Views Tech, and let's build their future today.
That is super.
I want to ask about, let's say for the normal everyday investor, somebody who don't have who doesn't have a lot of money to invest huge, but I know they have in avenues, programs, companies out there where you can invest small into developments, commercial or residential. Do you have any off top that you can spit out that people can get involved with if they can? Now I know DJ Envy stuff, you know what I'm saying? But like if you have like $500, right? Like $500 here or there, some legit stuff. Because when it comes to that stuff, it could be scary, right? Because you don't know who you give your money to, right? You can end up with Caesar and them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you navigate that if you're interested in it?
I would say just start with REITs. Just go. I mean, on the stock market. I know you're kind of tainted, from the stock market and whatnot. But if if it's something, and I don't want to say as small, but if it's like $500 or whatnot, just start with a REIT. Go. Look at the stock market. Look at numbers, because what it's going to do, it's not only going to put you in a habit of tracking your investments, right? You're going to want to ask questions. You're going to want to look at balance sheets. But it's going to get you prepared to have those conversations. If you were to partner with the Caesar, you would be able to kind of sense that there was something off because something wouldn't make sense, right? And I think that's also another unfortunate situation where a lot of people get, they get scammed is because they think it's a get rich quick scheme. They're desperate. They don't really know the right questions to ask. I mean, there's always going to be questions to ask.
Or they get sold too.
Right. That too. But it's like, I mean, if you ask the right questions, you can kind of sense certain things. But I would say just start with a read. And this is just my opinion. Start with a read. It's easier to get in. And then, I mean, you can scale your way up. Maybe if the 500 turns into. Now, are you saying you just starting with 500 and that's it? You're not investing more?
Oh no, I don't know. I guess I'm not talking about me personally, but yeah.
Okay.
Let's say somebody is like they hearing about investing in real estate. Real estate is a huge way to become wealthy over time, right? But you ain't got a lot of money, but you wanted to start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go to Caesar. You know what I mean? You don't want to get caught.
I mean, I'll be honest, man. I just I'm not really the type of person to advise someone to invest in real estate if they can't just come to the table with like 25,000. But I know that's not like the average person. But that's just me being realistic, only just because of what I see and what I've been exposed to. Right. And that's why when you said 500, it's like just put it into a REIT.
Get your cake up if you try.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it like that. I'm just trying to paint it. I'm just trying.
It's okay. Say it with your chest. Look.
get your money up.
People. Because I mean, just we see how people are on social media. Yeah, I want to do this. I want to buy trucks. But I mean, bro, you don't have the credit for it. You don't have. Let's just be realistic. Let's be real. True. You get what I'm saying? So. And I only said that because you threw out 500, so I would just take the REIT route.
And what is that? Is that an acronym? Real estate investment.
Yeah, real estate investment trust.
Okay, cool. Got you.
And all it is essentially just real estate investors, developers, whoever you want to say, they went the right way. They crazy enough. They they registered to sell their securities to the public, and all they're doing is investing in developments, and of course. You get your profits based off of what you invest. And also in that case, it wouldn't be a Jay Morrison type. So,
right. No, that's funny.
Is he a fraud or not? That's a quick question.
Is he a fraud?
Entertainment purposes only.
I would say. I'm gonna tread lightly with my answer. I'm gonna say that he is. He just mismanaged the fund. He's a very influential fund manager, and he just mismanaged the funds.
He got the gift of the gab. He brought the people together, unified, but he ain't thrived.
Did you read the prospectus or some of the prospectus on his fund?
No.
So automatically, right off the jump, I mean, he owned 50% in fees, and I'm just like. How does nobody see this? Like, I mean, they approved this, but I mean, hey, they approved it. So literally, he was shooting for, I think it was 5 million, and I think they only raised like 2-3 million. So that 3 million right off the bat, I mean, he's pocketing 1.5 in fees. It's in the prospectus.
That's crazy.
People,
that's what you said about asking the right questions, right?
Asking the right questions.
Asking the right questions.
Yep. If you go to the SEC and pull up their documents, you'll see this was, I think in 22, just 1 month alone, they pocketed 230 just in management fees in 1 month. I'm like, good Lord.
I'm in the wrong business. We're in the wrong business.
You put that much money to manage something only to mismanage it. Intentionally, probably.
Yeah, all of it is going towards the and this is just public information. You can look it up. You can see, right? If you're looking, because you have to publicly file through the SEC, right? And this you put yourself on a public platform, you are going to get certain people that can find these documents and see the what is it, the Black House? So I mean, I don't want to say he was genius or whatever, but he used strategies to his advantage to raise a fund with one company, we'll just call it Company A, to buy that opportunity zone, because the Black House sits on an opportunity zone, to buy that land and build that building, like renovate it. And you'll see on the prospectus, you'll see on the SEC documents that are filed, they're two different companies. And it's one company just paying for the services of another company using funds from the fund that he raised. So, he used certain strategies, man. Like I mean, yeah. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
We're not coming for nobody.
But is that even advantageous? That's my word for today. Is that advantageous for like to cut your nose off despite your face, right? Yeah, you shit on them over here, but you trying to build another front-facing business over here, right? And trying to use them same people, that same community, right, to do more business with. And it's like, is that gonna work?
Yeah, it's not sustainable. It'll work in the meantime, it'll work in the interim, right? But it's not sustainable, especially if you're losing money, right? Because if you grew that 2 million, 10%, let's just on average, let's say 10% a year. I mean, you're not really making a lot of money, right? And so now you're gonna have to go to more investors. You're gonna have to you're gonna want to buy something that's not on the MLS. You want to go, want to get something from a private investor. They're not gonna want to do business with you, right? Because you've mismanaged funds on this large scale. Why would I want to do business with you? It goes back to, like you were saying, Caesar and DJ Envy. They're never going to be able to go into the real estate business.
Finito. Yeah.
Right. Not at all. Not at all.
I really thought they were going to grab Envy too. I mean, I didn't know if he was guilty or anything, whatever, but it kind of seemed like he knew some stuff. But he seems to be fine. He's not getting yoked up or whatever.
Envy said, I had no idea he was a phony.
I mean, you never know. You just never know, man. And I think, my opinion, we give it about another 2-3 more years. I think some more people might surface. Man.
And that's for that situation?
Or just in real estate in whole. Real estate, just what goes up must come down, man. We had a big boom of just these influencers on social media over COVID.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Is Grant Cardone the truth?
I haven't heard I haven't heard a lot of fraud or malpractice from Grant. He just over leveraged, which at one time he had to, I think, lay off people he couldn't pay him. He just over leveraged.
There was like a dark cloud over Jay Morrison for a little bit too. What was it? Tony the Closer, TI beef with Tony the Closer or something. He's trying to say he was a fraud or something.
Yeah. Who doesn't Tony the Closer beef with?
That's true.
That's his thing. My beef with buddy is he has this great business, right, or a great solution for people. But he spent most of his time beefing with people. He spent so much energy beefing and talking about people, and he don't push nothing no more. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, what I get confused about is, I mean, granted, because he presents himself as what is it, like wholesaling, right? And granted, like if that's your thing, if that's what you do, I'm all for it. But what I'm a little concerned about is, like you said, his energy. He has his time to do this, but his results, they're all like from 2021, 2022. Like he'll show something and the date is just old. It's like, okay, so, if it's still working, where are the people now saying it is working? Where are your results now? So if you have to go to this sense, in my opinion, if you got to look at something in the past or use something in the past to justify what you're doing now,
the heyday stuff,
something's not adding up. You get what I'm saying? So
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And I wanted to talk about my man Freud, the CTS. What's the crypto dude?
Oh, Sam Bankman-Fried?
Yeah. He just got 25 years.
He got 25 years. Is that for mismanaging, or is that just
that's for thievery?
He is the smartest dummy that I know, man. Like, and I say it to say because he had the funds, right? He had the money,
and he had the network, and he had the resources.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he had the partnerships. If you have the likes of A16Z, Adrian Zane Horowitz, like all VCs throwing money at you, Skybridge, Anthony Scaramucci, and you get $62 billion from private investors and you mismanage that, come on, man. Egregious. And I believe he had good intentions. But you also got to remember what really put him on the spot was because the market went sour. And going back to kind of like the Robinhood situation, people like, you know what? Let me reduce my risk. Let me get out. He couldn't fulfill those orders. So now he gets called out. So now something is going on. They're like, okay, why can't you fill these orders? $62 billion. What's going on? Now we have to look into
Take a look.
Right?
Investigation. We gotta see what's going on.
I'm gonna let you change subject.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was gonna try to pick your brain a little bit. Go ahead, what you said?
Go ahead. American Greed. American Greed. We watch the show all the time, bro. And 9 times out of 10, if these fools just execute the plan that they had, they be fine. They be fine.
Or the plan they presented.
Right. Yep.
9 times out of 10, they just do what they say they were gonna do. They be rich.
Legit.
People get their money back, and they wouldn't be in jail. But,
right,
bro, that shit crazy.
No, it's different when you get the money though.
It is different. It's easy. Hindsight is always 20/20.
It's like, oh shit,
right?
They gave it to me. Yeah,
and that reminds me of like you said, if you just do the right thing with the money, like you would be fine. It reminds me of remember the whole PPP loan situation.
Oh my god, yeah,
them too, yeah.
They try to.
But my thing is though, right? Granted, it's nothing. It's the stigma behind it. Oh, you got PPP money, so it's illegal. No, it's illegal because you directly spent that $1 towards anything outside of payroll. Just put yourself on payroll. Give yourself a bonus. Pay somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can track that you've used this money for payroll.
Mm-hmm.
You just took that $1, you didn't process it the right way, and now you bought something with it. That's what makes it illegal.
Or the other side of it, right? They just creating companies out of nowhere and falsifying documents just to get $20,000. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I know anybody personally. I don't.
So now I'll be honest with you. Like I didn't know that the government was giving them money that easy. Like you just falsify or create a document and
some people think it was a intentional trap. Like they let you do it just so they could get you on the back end. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen people doing it. There was other programs too, other government programs that were the funds were allocated to help people during that time who had legitimate business reasons. And people hear about it and they're like, oh, all I need is this, boom. Do the paperwork, send it out, get money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just like,
right.
And people came to me, they wanted me to do it too with them. And I'm just like, no, I'm good. I actually looked at the requirements.
Frank said, I got a job. No.
I read what they were looking for. And I was like, do I apply? You know what I'm saying? Am I eligible for this? The answer was no. So I was like, I'm good. They're like, no, you just gotta do this. Like, yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I'm good.
But nobody, I'm gonna let you go, Frank. But nobody's gonna talk about China stealing the $200 million for the PPP loan. But all right, man, go on with it though.
It is now 2023, going on 2024. Why don't you have a VPN? Only for a limited time. Go to piavpn.com/cyberbunny. You could get 83% off the PIA VPN. What is a VPN? VPN is basically software that's used to hide an end user information such as IP address, location, private data they may be transferring over the internet, identifiable information such as their devices they're using from being spied on, from hackers, governments, internet service providers, anybody out there who wants to steal your data for their own personal gain. That's basically what a VPN does. If you want to take advantage of this discount, go to piavpn.com/cyberbunny. Go there now, sign up, tell them I sent you, get your software, get it installed on your laptops, on your mobile phones, on your tablets, any device that connects to the internet, get it installed on there. Get protected, go now. No, the next thing I was just going to try to get into, to share your insight on like this BRICS and the dollar situation. Like,
okay.
Do you feel that the dollar is at its life end, like is as its life support? And is BRICS really a threat to the dollar? You know what I'm saying? Or is all that FUD?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
it's all doomsday talk and not real.
Yeah. Now, until there has to be another medium of exchange that can hold the same weight as the US dollar, because this entire system relies on the US dollar. It's we say, the US dollar is losing its power, XYZ. We have to remember that the Fed, the Federal Reserve, which is the only central bank in the world without, not named after a country, by the way, their job is to make sure and protect that the US dollar is circulating, that will continue to circulate throughout this economy, because of so many countries relying on it. Why do you think so many countries rely on our bonds? Because they're indirectly, through foreign exchange, are investing in the US dollar. When companies are offshoring their currency, right, it still relies on the US dollar. So where I'm going with it is, of course, it's losing its value. I mean, it's anything, that's supply and demand. You continue to create more of something, it's going to lose its value. But we're at a stage where we're realizing so many countries, so many systems, so many people rely on the US dollar. It's not going to get replaced until they find another median of exchange. Now, that median of exchange can come by way of blockchain, whatever they figure out. If they find a coin, if they find something else to replace it. But the dollar is always going to be around just until they find something to replace the US dollar.
Okay, so this is not something we should be worried about anytime soon.
No, absolutely
right?
not. We won't even see any of this. Like, even when our children get our age, like it's still going to be some time, right? Because you got to think. I mean, the world would goddamn end if something happened to the US dollar. Like, there's just nothing. Like, people really underestimate. People really underestimate like what they're saying when they're like, "Hey, yeah, the dollar's gonna crash." Do you know what's gonna happen if the fucking dollar crashes? Like,
it's doomsday. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have conversations about this all the time. Like, let's say the dollar is kaput tomorrow, right? Exchange, transfer, none of that. How do you? Our economy is like, how do you survive? How do you exchange? How do you buy goods? How do you do anything? How do you travel? How do you exchange for anything?
Just look at it on a small scale. Look at SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, when they closed, right? People lined up trying to get their money. They couldn't get it. Now let's multiply that worldwide, because the US dollar just stopped, right? Like, we see in waves, small scales. Look at the chaos in 07, 08. That's a small scale compared to the world. But we had to stop in. The Fed had to stop in. And what did they have to stop in to put lipstick over a Band-Aid with? The US dollar, right? Look at COVID. What do we need to do with a bailout, right? When Trump, put the money into the economy, I think they said about 30% of US dollars printed at that time, right?
Oh yeah, like no, I remember. It was like, I think it was 40 or 50. It was a high ass number.
It was a high number. Wow. Like, I think that was like historic numbers where they've printed the most, right? And we're eating the effects of that inflation now, but the US dollar, you don't see them trying to give us Iraqi diners. You don't see those. You don't see them trying to give us euros, right?
Dinars.
When even look at the situation, and I'm sensitive to the topic. It's a very sensitive topic, but let's look at what's going on, overseas. When any country is at war and they need help, they need assistance, we're either giving them weapons or what? US dollars.
Money.
Are somebody else stepping in? Because, I mean, like I said, it just goes back to, we're really underestimating the importance of the US dollar. So when we're having conversations, people having conversations like, yeah, it's crashing, this and that. It's like, yeah, okay, good luck. We'll see when that crashes.
That's facts. And when you listen, depending on who you listen to, there's always this, it's a pending doom. Like, it's going to happen next week. It's going to happen next month. It's going to happen 6 months. It's going to happen this year. And they've been saying that for a while now. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I'm hedging. So going back to something we mentioned earlier, I'm hedging against the dollar with silver and gold. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing what I can. You know what I'm saying? But
balling over there, don't lie. Look,
I know.
No.
I know.
Oh, this is silver.
He caught that silver wave too with the EVs too, right? Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's my thing, is like, you know what I'm saying? But then even that, you know what I'm saying, is like, okay, if I got all the silver and gold, what the fuck am I gonna do? I can't take this store. I can't trade with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Here's a coin. You know what I'm saying? Here's a 10-ounce bar. But it retains its value, so to speak. It's one of those things. What do you have any insight on silver and gold? Do you believe in it, or do you think that's just one of those things? It's nice to have, but it doesn't really mean anything in the long run.
Well, I definitely believe in commodities, because silver and gold are part of commodities, and also this world runs on commodities as well. This financial system runs on commodities as well. Going back to what I was saying, where I learned hedging, always have a hedge in place. I use commodities to hedge, and it sounds like you do it as well. So, I mean, I'm all for it.
Yeah. And silver's cheap still, so
it definitely is.
So it won't be a time where I can go throw somebody one of my silver ounces and get a freaking gallon of gas, no?
Well, it depends. Listen, just look at the market on a basic level. The reason we believe in US dollars, the reason we use US dollars, is because the system tells us this is what's valuable. So if it comes point of time, if that silver or that gold bullion is like, hey, you can use this as a medium of exchange, okay, that's what we can use as a medium of exchange.
And if you got to be good.
Exactly.
No, that makes sense. I don't know. I got a little stash. You know what I'm saying? It ain't here. Don't come for
Got a
me.
little
Don't
stash.
don't people come to my house looking for stuff. I got guns too,
Not at all.
bitches.
Not at all. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, good too, bitches.
You in VA as well?
Yeah, I'm in Chesapeake.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So nah, yeah. It's almost it's at this point like, and now I'm back in crypto too. Like I had an issue with crypto.
Nice.
I lost to crypto for so many years. That was another thing I got pissed off at. But recently I got
Emotional
back in.
buyer.
Hey, it is what it is. Hey, when you
Yeah.
lose money, that shit is emotional time. You know what I'm
It
saying?
definitely is emotional. It
But when you
definitely
get
is.
money, it's also an emotional time. You know what I'm saying?
One of my favorite sayings is "Scared money don't make no money. If I ever go broke, I would take your money." Yeah,
That's true.
Okay, Meek, bro.
Yeah. So the other thing I'm throwing money at, a little money at, is XRP. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's a crypto coin, XRP, XLM, XDC. These
Yeah.
are like financial coins, and there's talk, depending on what you listen to, there's talk about financial utility with these coins. Maybe even the CBCD, whatever the CBDC, being XRP being the actual central digital bank currency. I don't know. I got some, you know what I'm saying? Who knows what's going to shake out at the end of all this? But
Yeah.
I think XRP is solid. I think you can't lose with it, even though it's kind of been like flatline for the past few years. What do you think about Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin? Oh, you say you don't fuck with crypto. No, you say you good.
No, I mean, listen, I believe in crypto. I
Mhm.
believe in the blockchain. I believe that it will make our financial markets way more efficient. Just because of processing times, less fees.
True,
Just
right.
once we figure out how we're able to integrate it, once we get past that hurdle, until then it's just, what works
There.
now works now. Right.
Right. And then the regulation, they got to regulate because
That's the biggest thing.
right,
That's the biggest
with
thing.
the
Yeah.
accounts, and then
Mhm.
there's a lot of identity issues with it too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it wasn't created for it was decentralized, right? It was supposed to be
Mhm.
anonymous exchange or whatever, but I guess in order to regulate, you got to identify accounts and identify people and
Of course.
associate people with accounts. So I guess that's the hurdle they're trying to figure out. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I honestly think they'll, in my opinion, and I hope they figure out a workaround. Because it's no different than, even though it's a different industry, we're shifting gears here, it's no different than, they're creating laws to have LLC, C Corps, S Corps to protect your identity, right? So if it's one of those things where if we're going into the digital world and you're holding this medium of exchange, you have this blockchain, which essentially is the reason for the blockchain to have that ledger, right? I don't necessarily think they're going to adopt it and completely change it, because if that's the case, just continue doing what we're doing now.
Right.
Right.
Swift. Yeah.
So I think they're gonna find a workaround with it, but they're just trying to figure out a way to integrate it into the system. That shit is just gonna take time.
And I'm not buying Bitcoin because it's way too fucking high right now. I missed that boat.
I missed that boat. Don't come down.
I mean, why not just? I mean, you can just do it in waves. I mean, whatever you can afford.
That's true. That's true. I just look at that price and I get so mad at it. And I'm like, I like my XRP. It's low.
Yeah.
I used to have Bitcoin. let me tell you, I had a half a Bitcoin in 2017. No, I had like maybe one Bitcoin like mid 2016, 2017. It was like 4,000. You know what I'm saying? Just one, right?
When'd you sell?
At the tip of 2018, when that bitch took a nosedive, I jumped the fuck out. And I ain't looked back since. But that one Bitcoin, I would have 70 grand. So, it is what it is. You lose some, you win some.
Emotional damage.
Of course. And you didn't learn anything from that situation?
I learned to not fuck with Bitcoin.
No. He repeated that cycle 2 more times.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, but I also think what a lot of people are doing now with crypto, they have these false hopes. They're like, yeah, this, because it's 10 cents, 20 cents here, it's gonna double, it's gonna hit $1. But
1000x.
What's gonna make it do that? Right? Like, it's not just something you wake up overnight and it's there. Like, they have to continue to grow. They have to continue to take on projects. They have to go through regulation, right? Are they helping a pharmaceutical company transfer prescriptions at a faster rate, right? Are they helping attorneys send contracts over at a faster rate? Like, what's gonna occur that's gonna make this cryptocurrency or this coin go through the roof? But like, what you're explaining. So I think a lot of people now, they have like this false hope, like, yeah, it's 10 cents, so I could just buy 1,000 of them and it's gonna do this. It's like, that's not really how it works. You get what I'm saying? So
you can get lucky though. Some people do. I've known people personally that got real lucky on Dogecoin. I think a couple years ago, when that pumped up, and they jumped out and they came up, and I was like, that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
that's
you also
luck.
have to remember at one time, they were actually taking on shit, right? What Mark Cuban took on, like, what, as a merchant, where they can accept Dogecoin. So of course, obviously, that's going to push the value up, because now that's someone approving we can use this as a medium of exchange. You know, I think Elon had his little,
he was
moments with
trolling with it. Yeah, he would just make a post, dodge, and then pump.
But it goes to investor sentiment. What you think of it? Like, hey, if they're possibly going to integrate this into Tesla, because this is probably what's going through people's minds. So it's in the future. This is forward thinking, which is no different with the stock market. You're pledging that, hey, I'm going to get some dividends. I'm going to get profits from future earnings, not real time earnings, but this is for the future. So, you know, just based off of possibly what people were thinking that Elon, where they were going to take it, what he was going to do with Dogecoin, that's what was driving the price up. But then, of course, the hype dies down. Investors lose they're like, this isn't doing anything. You know, that hype is gone. They want to sell. Of course, now that's going to drive the price down. So yeah, you can get lucky if you get in at the right time, but it's just like, what's going to cause it to increase? Like, how is it sustainable if nothing is going on and you're just sitting there hoping it goes up?
Yeah, it's a dirty game. It's way too volatile. You can get lucky, but you can lose a lot of money.
I heard somebody say luck is a little man in the sky dropping out sand dust on people.
Shit, I need some sand dust, goddamn.
Ain't it though? But when I heard about crypto or whatever, I remember somebody told me like 2012 was like broken to Bitcoin. I was like, man, that shit was like 75 cents. I was like, dog, I don't even know how to go buy none of this stuff, and I lose everything.
Yeah, if I go back in time,
how could you buy crypto back then in 2012 though? Like, what exchange?
To go to like 4 different websites.
Yeah, and it was unverifiable websites. It was something where they steal your identity or whatever.
The earliest I messed with Bitcoin crypto was 2016, and I got it off of Coinbase.
Okay.
So that's
Coinbase,
I don't know.
I heard about it.
Yeah, probably not.
If I could go, I'm sorry.
No, I got it.
They said it wasn't around when I heard about it.
Oh yeah, no.
If we can go back in time, I would go back in time and buy 5 million Bitcoins and not touch it.
and just sit on it.
Yes.
I think everybody.
No diddy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I heard about smart contracts. When I learned about, so like he was saying about what's the application behind the coin, right? What's the utility for it? That's when I got into smart contracts. Like I tried to learn smart contracting, coding, and all that kind of stuff. Because like NFTs. You said, the blockchain and the ledger is your NFTs. Like that's the actual truth. The coins, them tokens, they're okay, but the actual technology,
the
contracts,
blockchain.
And NFTs and the blockchain ledger, that's gonna be the difference maker, right? So whoever able to really found out how to utilize that the most, right, is gonna be the game
tokenized physical assets.
And so our last question, you was probably gonna be like, what's something you want trying to figure out moving forward, right? So what you trying to figure out going forward in life?
Man, that's a good question. And it could be anything. What I'm trying to figure out moving forward. I guess I'll personalize it, and I'll switch gears and change the subject. You know, we're talking about finances. We're talking about, you know, wealth building, investing. I'm really starting to take an interest into psychology, man, because it's like we all kind of operate the same, obviously in our different worlds, in our different way. But at the end of the day, it came down to very similar behaviors, right? Let's take it back to the business world. A CEO, right, or a founder. Matter of fact, let's go to a founder. You know, about 60% of founders that raise money from VCs and they take their company public will eventually get voted out of that company. So where I'm going with it is, think of us as people, right? That one common decision that it all ends up, it's like you're valuable until you're not, right? So it's really me just wanting to understand that human psychology, like how do you get to that point? Like the average marriage lasts 10 years.
Right.
Look at the divorce rate, right? So you're valuable to somebody until you're not. So it's really me just wanting to figure out that human psychology of it. It's like, how do we all have the same patterns of behaviors? And we end up with essentially the same result. But it's just like, it's something that we're missing. We're not telling ourselves, and we're lying to ourselves about something about longevity, about this here, but our time is really limited with people, places, and things.
Yo, that's deep, bro.
deep.
That's like a Black Mirror episode, bro. Like, like
You're
what?
valuable till you're not. Yeah, I like that.
I
I
mean,
mean, think about it. Like you
yeah.
got somebody in the NBA. They can be at the top of their game. Let them mess something up. I mean,
Thanks.
you're valuable until you're not. Let's look at a doctor. You can be a doctor for 20, 30 plus years. One malpractice, you're done.
Yeah,
Right? You're valuable until you're not, right? But that it goes down to just why does it work that way? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Psychology is really just intriguing to me. You make your business decisions based on psychology. You invest based on psychology. You build relationships based on psychology. So that's something I like moving forward. I kind of want to like learn
that's
more
a
about.
huge question. I feel like we should do a podcast on that, or like try to come up with answers for that. Somebody might have an answer, you know what I'm saying?
And so
you'll learn from different experiences.
When he said it, I was just thinking like, one of the things that I tell my son every day is like, what we doing today? Getting better. Right. So I don't know if that combats that you're valuable until you're not, right? But that's something that everybody's probably trying to, or should be trying to work toward. Like every day I'm getting better, regardless of what's going on, regardless of how good I am, right? Because even LeBron, he's gonna have to pivot real soon here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and
but
I don't know if you want to go commentating or whatever, but yeah, bro, that's.
But is that so you're talking about like self-perception, but I think what Ty was talking about is like outside perception coming in, like you lose your value based on external factors. You know what I'm saying? So like if somebody you have your value till you don't, it's like a spouse or a wife or a husband. It's like there's a value anymore, or a job, or those board members don't value the founder anymore. It's like that aspect of it. Is that preventable, or is that just something we all have to deal with and live with? You know what I'm saying?
And in my opinion, I feel like there's no right or wrong answer to it, because a person can only lead you to the level that they are able to lead you, right? You know, there's a cap, like if you stop growing, or if you just are at a level where somebody can perceive your leadership and what you're offering. I mean, you can't lead them further, right? It's one of those things where, right? I mean, it's one of those things where, how do I say this? Think of it this way. It's one of those things where, as going back to what you and your son, we're getting better, right? Your son is going to outgrow people, situations. He's growing daily. He's going to look at red one day and then wake up the next day and look at red a different way. The same thing with people. As you're continuing to evolve, you're changing, but I also have to deal with other people around me changing. We're not going to see eye to eye all the time. Right. And it's just that one thing, I guess, that we've lied to ourselves, in my opinion, as humans, that we think that we're just going to live this grand life and we're going to have all these people in our lives for years, which is why, if you think about it, so many business deals go sour. Right. We talk about marriages, we talk about families. Right. But it's something in the human psychology and the human behavior that we're not acknowledging that's causing that to happen.
Damn.
We got to get this answer.
Yeah, when you figure it out, Ty, let us know, please.
You think? I don't think I'm ever going to figure it out, though. I don't think there's an answer.
You got to be the one.
Maybe we're not supposed to figure it out at this level. Maybe we're supposed to move on to the next dimension after we pass on and then get. I don't know. That is deep. Maybe someone else.
That's weird.
Maybe I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if that's true or not. But maybe you got to turn to a monk and turn to a light body.
Right. What about y'all? What y'all trying to figure out?
What am I doing? You go first.
I need a house. Dog, I got 5 people in 2 bedrooms. I need a crib, bro. Like, and that's very short term thinking, but it's like it's gonna happen. But like outside of that, I work out fairly often. I eat pretty decent. I'm a uber happy person. You know what I mean? I take personal responsibility for myself. I think I'm a 9 out of 10 in life, dog. And what you just said, like, you value what you not. If I get a house, shit might go downhill. And I'm like, man, what the fuck I was doing so great? You know what I'm talking about?
Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Get the house. Get the crib.
I'm going to. What about you, Frank?
No, I'm trying to figure out how to get this content creation pumping some money. You know what I'm saying? We pumping out videos, clips. You know, we monetize. We're trying to monetize and just trying to get some real income off of this. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we were trying to figure that shit out for 2 years since we started.
What's been a challenge?
Not knowing what we don't know.
That's good. What has been a challenge? So we're good on consistency, right? That's not an issue. We pumping on content. We got the know-how to graphics and intros and all the technical creative things. I guess it would be getting more eyes, growing the audience. So I would put it that way, growing the audience, maybe perhaps a viral audience, or just exploding. Or we don't have to explode. It could just be a exponential growth over time. You know what I'm saying?
Consistent growth,
yeah. So that's I think that's what it is. And there's so many podcasters out there. There's so much competition. It's everybody's doing this now. So you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say that we're failing because of that, but it is an oversaturated thing, you know what I'm saying? So you have to stick with it, consistency to break through that. Once you break through that and you have a name, I think you're good to go, as long as you don't fuck it up.
Of course. And we'll talk more offline, regarding just like your strategies and whatnot. Because I'm always, willing to offer a thing or two, if I'm able to help, because, I would like to learn more about, your criteria. Since you're consistent, you have that market. Obviously, you have the target in place to get more eyes. So, just learning more about, what criteria, what determines who you speak with, how do you, for instance, you had a VC. I saw the episode with the VC, and then there was an episode of a young lady. I think she was a real estate agent. She's talking about like brokers and whatnot. I forget okay, it was a couple of them. But then you also had someone, I think, that was talking about mental health, or it might have been a different one. But what I'm saying is, it's industry agnostic, right? I don't discriminate on what topic you pick. But I would like to learn more on why you're taking that route, because on the outside looking in, it's like, okay, are you focused on this, or what are you focused on? Yeah,
we've had those conversations,
but I wouldn't say all over the place in a bad way.
Yeah. We've had those conversations where we try to feel like, okay, like maybe we should try to stick to more business and CEOs and financial health, you know what I'm saying? And then stick to that.
But that's based on what though?
Our interests, getting out the rat race, growing businesses.
Trying to grow.
Yeah. Because that's you know what I'm saying? So like we try to talk to people who know about that stuff. But then we jump into conspiracies too, and then we jump into life, or we jump into mental health. So it's like we're sprinkled in with a bunch of different topics. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
Depending on who you talk to, marketers or whatever, they say, hey, pick your niche, stick to that, and you can grow in that. But then we don't want to box ourselves in either. Because then every now and then we want to branch out. But it's one of those things. They say, for podcasts especially, you don't really develop your swim lane until 100 episodes, so to speak. And we're like 77, so we kind of close, I guess. But
nice. Yeah. Do y'all use Google Trends?
Not really.
Okay.
But I think the name kind of speaks for itself, though. Like it's figuring shit out, right? So that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Broad.
Just trying to figure it out, and then learn from people who figure some things out, right? See how we can incorporate that. You know what I mean? But the people that we talk to still are figuring shit out as well, right? So that's kind of my thing.
Everybody figures shit out.
Right.
That's you know what I mean?
We're gonna get there though. We're gonna get there though.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely need to talk more offline, man. Seriously.
I'm down.
Because I'm always down. I'm always down for talking to like-minded individuals. We probably followed each other for what, 3-4 years. So it's probably longer. So it's one of those things where definitely, seriously, and just when you asked to come on a podcast, I was like, why not? Because I don't do podcasts or whatever, but the type of conversation, or this conversation that we had, the flow of the conversation, it's like literally we would have productive conversations. I can tell we could build a lot. And like I said, I'm interested in learning more of y'all goals with this, because possibly if I can offer a thing or two, if I can introduce you to someone, maybe that's what we're here for, the community.
Unify and Thrive. No, I'm with it.
Right.
I'm with it. What was I about to say? I was about to say something. You on Facebook? Ty Watson, right?
Yeah, Ty Watson.
Okay, I'll get the information. Oh, socials. Your socials. You want to put out your socials? Anybody reach out to you for anything?
Yeah, I'm not like a big social media person. I'm saying like I have hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever. I just post my life every now and then. IG Ty_TLWE, Ty_TLWE, and then Facebook Ty Watson. If you want to be professional, if you're on LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn, Ty Watson. Of course, it's different, different vibes there. But yeah, if you want to follow, you can follow.
And you're
I
in
can see Ty.
Virginia Beach, Norfolk?
No.
Oh.
I'm back in New York. Yeah.
Okay, got you.
I can see Ty getting that big bag and straight disappearing on him.
No, not at all. Y'all still gonna see me on social every now and then.
No, that's dope.
What's up?
All right, man. We appreciate you, man. This is a dope
you,
conversation.
Sure.
I appreciate y'all, seriously.
This one, it might be not a long time because this is the part of the new season, so this might be like a few weeks out. But before we drop it, we definitely let you know. We'll let you know the date and the time and all that stuff. So
I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it, man.
We'll
Have
be
a
in
good
touch,
one.
Brody.
All right, y'all. Peace.
All right, peace out.